Love Wellington,
yes,
a rumour went around that you did actually wee.
This had to come up, didn't it?
In the bucket fountain.
It's sort of my fault because I'm too honest.
Tell me, what's the story? Come on.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's that bucket fountain in the center of Cuba Street, and it's always been a bit of, like, I love it, but I hate it because it doesn't work.
And it splashes you when you walk.
See, that's the thing.
So annoying.
It's not. It's poor engineering, and every time I pass it, it's this sort of curiosity as to why it's been there for so long and it doesn't actually work.
Right.
So it was a bit of frustration between myself and Dom, and one night, after having a bit of alcohol, we decided to climb it and then urinated in it.
Now, Elijah told me that he did admit that he did wee in the bucket fountain in Wellington.
He did?
He did. He just...
A rite of passage?
I think so, yeah.
Not only did I not do that, but had I seen Elijah do that, I would have stopped him. So.
Because your role as Sam, sort of looking after Frodo...
To provide appropriate places for him to have a wee.
Well, that's right.
Yes.
Did you do that in real life as well?
Not the day that you're talking about, apparently. Yeah, I sort of liked the idea. Part of sort of getting into character for me was appointing myself as Elijah's sort of helper and protector. He didn't need it. He didn't necessarily want it, but he was certainly happy to kind of have me around. So I kind of would identify little things that I could do to sort of help him. I would sort out lunch a lot of times, or I would help him get his, you know, when he would lock himself out of his apartment, I'd work on getting the keys to the apartment or something like that.
Now, you played Smeagol in Return of the King, but you weren't originally going to be Smeagol, were you? You weren't actually going to feature your face. That's
right. I mean, when I started filming, started filming Gollum, no, I had no idea that Pete was going to... I mean, I actually said to him, I really feel that I should carry the role through into the young Smeagol section. It would just make total sense. And Pete said, yeah, I really want you to play young Smeagol. Then he thought, well, it's really important, therefore, to redesign the face so it looks like Andy.
How cool was that? You must have been pretty excited.
Oh, I was made up, yeah.
One of my main questions was, I was interested in why Lord of the Rings? Did you read it as a child?
I read it when I was about 17 or 18, and I loved it. But I never, you know, I never thought about making a movie then. I can't say, you know, and from that point on I dreamt of making a film because I just never even occurred to me that I'd ever have a chance to make the film, obviously. I mean, I wasn't even a filmmaker then. I was a photo engraving apprentice. And as the years went on, I started making films and getting computer technology, and we made a film called The Frighteners in 1995 where we had about 30 computers, and I started to think that you could do things with computers at that point that couldn't have ever been done before, and I began to think, well, what books or types of films could you actually make now that have been impossible, and Lord of the Rings popped into my mind.
How did you meet Peter Jackson?
He wandered into a TV commercial set that we were doing, and I just chatted him for a minute or so, but we hit it off instantly, and we endeavoured to catch up 3 or 4 weeks later, and here we are. It's been an amazing 15-year friendship, and it's really lovely to think that we've been able to work our craft together in the way we have.
Things are probably quite different for you at the moment, aren't they, Orlando, because of the fame. How are you coping with the fame? It's true.
It's so
Did you see him? He almost collapsed on the flight to pull him off by his legs.
We're always shocked, like, 'cause we're like, really, you like us?
Yeah, it is very weird. And it doesn't really happen unless you're in an environment where people are expecting to see you. Right. I mean, occasionally you get somebody who notices you in the street, but it's not like, I mean, that's the big myth. The big myth is that, like, people think that like, you walk around and you can't do anything. But, like, if you just get on with your business.
Tell me about your love of your sword. It's the gossip of the town. Everyone's saying, you know, he just takes the sword everywhere. Supermarket, the gym, police get called. What's the truth?
Well, the police did get called, but I didn't hurt anybody. And I don't know about the supermarket. I guess it's possible. I don't remember. I know I had it with me a lot, especially in the beginning.
Why?
Because I didn't have time to get ready. You know, I only had a couple days, and I said, can I please take this sword with me? I'll promise I'll keep it safe, and I won't, if I leave the house, it'll always be in the car and locked up. And, of course, I didn't quite keep my word.
Where were you when you first found out that you had the role?
I was in Edinburgh. I was working on a new script in a theatre called The Traverse, and I got a message asking me to phone my agent. So I called her up, and she said, "Guess who's playing Pippin in Lord of the Rings?"
And how did you react?
I was kind of, you know, all seemed kind of surreal. Because you don't really think you're going to get jobs like this, you know. And yeah, I was just like, well, that sounds as if it could be cool. I better read the book.
And it's turned out to be all right, eh?
It's turned out quite well, yeah.
Sort of all right.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. What an experience.
What was it about The Lord of the Rings that really made you want to take the role?
Part of it was my son's belief in the story and his affection for it. And the other was the feeling that I had, even without reading the book, that this was going to be an adventure.
Finger?
Yep, that finger.
Is very special.
Yeah, that finger is a very special finger, yes. It demonstrates the fact that maybe I'm not quite as smart as I thought I was. And every time I give this familiar gesture to an American audience, now all I get is ridiculed. Very sad, very stupid.
Tell me about how you made Peter Jackson feel a bit unwell by
that was it. Well, it was a nice one, yes. Well, we made up a dummy finger to complete it, you see, and then we put a little cut in it, and then we had a little bit of blood in the cut. And I went up to him and I said, Peter, I think I may need a bit of medical attention because, you see, I cut this and I slowly I opened it just a little bit and he could see that it was all the way to the bone. And he said, yeah, I think you, and I kept peeling it back further and further.
How did you convince New Line to take a punt on you, this New Zealander who's predominantly known for splatter films?
Well, it was originally with a different company and we worked with them for 18 months, and then they decided they didn't want to do it anymore, and New Line looked at all of the stuff that we'd done. We were very lucky because for 18 months we'd done a lot of designs, we'd built models, we'd done sculptures, we'd done location scouting and costume design, and we had all this great visual material. So at that point we were able to, you know, do a presentation to New Line and to actually show them all this stuff that we'd worked on, and it looked, I think that visual material sort of sold them on it more than anything.
Did the Oscars matter to you?
These films were not made with the Oscars in mind. It's not why Peter's a filmmaker. I know that's not why we tried so hard to make these films work.
How much of your character was based on Tolkien?
All I did was I listened to him rather overacting when he was reading bits from, I think, The Fellowship of the Ring, and I heard that rather gruff voice that too much nicotine passed over the larynx, I think, and the rather middle-class English accent. Gandalf, of course, has been to Cambridge, you know.
And you based the voice on your cat?
Yeah, it is. When I was working on the voice for the audition, he literally threw up in front of me.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. And he went through this whole kind of furball routine, and I thought
that's good.
That's how it works.
How do you gauge your success and achievement?
I don't know. I mean, that's the sort of thing that other people really, you know, spend their time gauging. I just sit here and I feel like very much the same guy that I used to be years ago. I mean, I wanted to make films ever since I was 7 years old, and I have made films ever since I was 7. In those days, it was with my parents' Super 8 camera, and then I got a 16mm camera, and I just slowly, you know, have worked doing what was a hobby, and it's still a hobby for me. I still don't regard it as being like a job or work. It's just, I'm just one of those lucky people that can do their hobby for their whole life.
There was so much love and so much creative kind of integrity and yeah, it was amazing.
And a lot of times it's the director that can bring everyone together, and Peter did that beautifully by inviting us to come down here early and spend time with him and go for dinners, and they really created a situation where we could all become very close.
And we did.
I spent New Year with Elijah and Dom this year. They came over to Britain, and whenever if I'm in LA, I'll meet up with Viggo. You know, I go on holiday with Orlando and Dom.